pre-construction meeting for the SR 179 sewer main replacement phase 2 project. Before we begin our presentation, I just want to run through kind of a little housekeeping and go over exactly how this will be structured. So we'll start this meeting off with a brief presentation from the contractor and the city. During this time, we ask that you all stay muted, please. This will help us kind of breeze through the presentation and allow our project team the opportunity to speak. If you do have any questions here during the presentation or that you wanted to get just out there, please use the chat. Roxanne Holland, the city's project manager, will be monitoring the chat throughout the presentation, answering any questions you might have. Following the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where we can unmute chat, ask questions, have a good dialogue with the project team. And after this meeting will be recorded and posted onto the city site. So if you missed anything, wanted to reference any of the slides, take a closer look at some of the photos we've got, that's a great way to do so. So with that, we'll start this presentation. Thank you all for joining us. All right, I'd like to introduce just our project team members so you can start familiarizing yourself with some of the players here. We have the City of Sedona project manager as Roxanne Holland. Standard Construction Company's project manager will be Steve Sutton, and he'll be kind of working with this presentation a little bit later with me. Standard Construction's project superintendent will be Dale Dean. He is who will be kind of boots on the ground most of the time and working with the local businesses and coordinating with y'all. Standard Construction's project engineer is Kyle Bowman. And my name is Connor. I will be handling the public involvement and project communications, so the e-newsletter, the hotline, that will be manned by me. Move forward here to some brief project details and a map so you can get a kind of a good idea about what we'll be doing here. This project consists of the removal and replacement of approximately 365 feet of sewer main along SR 179. It'll be from the stopping point of phase 1 through the Schnebly Hill roundabout. In addition to the work on SR 179, approximately 400 feet of sewer main will be upgraded underneath the pedestrian bridge crossing Oak Creek. Sewer work is scheduled to be complete by the end of February, pending approval of some permits from ADOT, and final paving will likely happen later in the spring when the temperatures start to warm up a bit, but we will be patching in the meantime to make sure that there's a beautiful driving surface. Moving forward, both the city and the contractor would like to assure the local community that we've got a lot of precautionary measures in place to prevent any impacts to Oak Creek and minimize impacts to local businesses and the traveling public. And as we go through here, I'm going to turn this over to Steve Sutton, the project manager with Standard Construction Company, and he's going to briefly run through the schedule as well as the sequencing and traffic control to give you guys a really great kind of look at exactly what to expect during construction. So Steve, take it from here.
Well, thank you, Connor. Good morning, everyone. The project right now is scheduled to start on January 5th. That'll be conditioned on our ADOT permit coming through. Currently, we have some approvals to get with ADOT and see if they have any additional feedback. So the initial part of the project is going to basically start in the area there in front of Garland's, and it'll be the installation of the sewer in the curb area. Connor, if you could flip ahead to the traffic control plan. I believe that is, I want to say that's sheet 7.
This one right here?
Yep. So looking ahead, the first part of the project for a few weeks will be day work up in the area there in front of Garland's. The initial traffic control should be just water barrier out, just set off the curb. Where the curb's at right now on the east side of the roundabout and running north up Schnebly Hill Road. So the sewer in that area will be the first sewer we approach. A lot of that, we've got a lot of soft dig in there, so you'll see a big vacuum truck and so forth in there. Once that work is complete, we'll flip back, can go back to the schedule there. We'll switch over to what will begin some night work. It's anticipated that will begin in later in January. Once we've got all of the initial work that we can do behind the barrier done, and we have to start getting out into the street. Our tie-in point for the project where the last phase left off was out in the roadway. And so we've got to get out there and get that prepared to be tied in. So we'll have some initial night work. And then that work will entail what we call a pilot car setup. And so the traffic control on that will become, quite extensive. But the traffic control will be set up in the evening and then pulled down in the morning. And so the whole idea here is to try and mitigate the impact during business hours. So that work will start back at, we'll have the traffic that is northbound cross the median at, I believe, what is that, Highland on the south end, or is it? And then they'll run north along the red line. The red line connects over on the second page of the traffic control plan, if you'll follow with me on that, in front of Talakapaki. We have to get around that island, and then we can put traffic back in the appropriate lane. So that's a one-way travel each direction, but that'll be a nighttime activity until in the spring, once the temperature's warmed up. We have a little bit of overlay work after all the other work is done, where we'll come back and we'll have to do that one time during the day. So going back to the schedule. So that'll begin what we have night work number 1. And that is basically the setup where we open up the excavation. Night work 2 becomes behind the barrier work, so there's no traffic control on that, where we continue on with the pipe installation. And then Connor, I can't quite see the other side of the schedule there. Let me move. Okay, there we go. Now I got everybody moved. So then we start in with some more night work, which will be a second pilot car setup, so that we can do our connection points in the roadway. This is going to be out in front of, I believe it's the Hike Shack. And so then that'll get plated back during the day and traffic will be restored. So we won't have the same type of setup that I think you've seen previously. The impact should be a lot less. So once that work's done and plated, we will have to get back in there and patch the asphalt back, and so that we can keep it open for traffic. Beyond that, we've got a manhole we're replacing or removing over in front of Garland's at the north end of the job. That'll be part of some night work, but no traffic control impact. If we can go to the second page, the next page down, this will make what I just said a little cleaner for everyone. If you look at the colors, it's color coordinated. The green portion of the work, what you're looking at here is you're looking at in plan view, where up here we have the work looking at it from basically the crow's view, you might say, overhead view looking down. That's our plan view. And then we have a profile view down below that's all colored up. And so we have a little table that shows the plan that's colored. So you have the green is sequence 1, yellow is sequence 2, orange is sequence 3, and blue is sequence 4. And so then we've got a little table that kind of just walks you through how we intend to construct the job. And so you'll see that the green sequence is work that's done behind the barrier over in the landscape area. For the most part, some of that, encroaches on the road a little bit. And there's, we have to set up a sewer bypass in order to do our work. Some fairly complicated scheduling that goes on with this project. But from, the public view, you're going to see us working behind the barrier, and we'll work through that. Once that work is complete, then we have to get out in the street. That work, as you can see, is done at nighttime. If you look at the next part of the little table down, sequence 2, yellow, it's night work. At that time, we'll have a fairly elaborate pilot car setup done, at which time we'll be testing our bypass scenario, at least for the sewer bypass, because we have to maintain service throughout. And this is a major sewer line in the city. Then once that work is complete, we'll roll right into the orange aspect, which we will have already opened up the excavation and plated it to protect it, to complete some more work. That work will be behind the barrier, should not be a traffic control impact, and under a sewer bypass. Then our final part of it, on the sewer installation portion, will be the blue part, where we go out into the street and install the sewer line connection in the street. Once all of that work is done, then we have to take and put back the sidewalk and the curb that had to be removed for the work in order to get our excavation dug and the trenching dug and remove the old sewer. So that curb will go back in, the sidewalk will go back in, we'll get the landscape restored back to its former condition or better. And once that we get past that, we have to go over the bridge, which, if you go back to the schedule for me, Connor, is over on the right side of the screen. And the bridge work will essentially, what'll end up happening there is we'll close the sidewalk to the public. So the public will have to cross the sidewalk to the south side and cross the existing bridge on the south side and cross the south sidewalk ramp to get back and forth across SR 179, or so the Schnebly Hill north side, northwest corner will be closed. We'll have a sewer bypass in place, and we'll be upgrading that pipeline across the bridge, across the pedestrian bridge. So then once that work is complete, depending on what the temperatures are at the time, we may have to go away for a while. So in all likelihood, we'll be waiting for temperatures to increase, because we have a asphalt overlay requirement around the roundabout. That's part of the contract. And so once temperatures get to a level that we can do that work, we'll come back in, everyone will be notified ahead of time, and we'll mill out the top 2 inches of asphalt and replace that around the roundabout. Once that's done, any striping that we had to take out as part of the process will be replaced, and that should complete the work, barring replacement of any work that might not be quite up to snuff. So we would complete what they call a punch list or a deficiency list at the end of the job. So some of that's weather driven, so that could push the job out, as late as May, with a pretty big gap in the middle. And that pretty well covers our schedule on it, Connor.
Excellent. Let's go over here to traffic controls. And so this project will definitely impact traffic, as we've gone over these traffic controls here. We have night work scheduled to make sure that we keep the traveling public moving despite some lane closures. General things to be aware of while we're doing construction is lane closures, some rough road conditions, flagging operations, reduced speeds, and construction equipment along the project corridor. Access to businesses and residents will be provided at all times. However, there will be some driveway closures that will be coordinated with the associated businesses at that time. Continue moving forward here. So we've got a lot of ways to stay informed and connected throughout this project. We have a project hotline that you can call at any time, ask questions. And if I cannot answer the question, I will make sure that one of our project team members gets an answer to you. We have a project e-newsletter. So once the job starts every Friday, we'll be providing an e-newsletter update that will essentially go over the schedule and any associated traffic impacts for the next week. So if we have anything going on, the next week, you'll be notified at least the Friday before, give you time to kind of plan and be ready for that. If you need any more information or want to see this presentation, it is going to be on the city's website, and you can just type in SR179 sewer main replacement.com, and that will take you straight to that web page. So nice and easy. Again, we have the hotline and the email. If you are interested and do not receive the e-news already, most everybody from phase 1 is still on this list, so you'll continue to get them if you did get them in phase 1. You can also email that news at SR179 sewer main replacement.com at any time with questions if you don't want to call the hotline or prefer an email in writing. With that, I'm going to open this up to questions. Looks like we already have one question here in the chat from Wendy Littman. Steve, if you could, Wendy is wondering what time night work will begin.
Okay, if we roll back to the schedule. Right now, night work is anticipated to start on or about the 17th of January. And so the night work is actually, in the scope of the job, is pretty small. So right now we're anticipating night work on about four to 5 nights. 4 nights during the sewer installation, and then one night that'll kind of roll into day when we come back and we do the asphalt overlay. And that's just a function of when we can get materials. So, it's going to be, they'll start milling out the asphalt under the pilot car scenario, and that'll have to start earlier so that we can pave, and then that's a function of time.
Mm-hmm. And Steve, do you have an approximate time of day that night work is going to start? Is it 6 p.m., midnight, 8 p.m.?
In general, the pilot car setup is pretty elaborate, so they're going to have to set up their flag stations. That'll probably be, we'll probably want to start that around 8 p.m. But really not, just getting the preparations in, because it's a setup tear down scenario with the pilot car. but the pilot car won't really start running until I would assume around 10. So then it's going to be, it's a late night, all night setup. And then the plan would be to get the traffic reopened around daylight.
Excellent, Wendy. I hope that answers your question. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Unmute yourself. Wendy asks, are restaurants affected at night? Close your bathrooms?
No.
You are welcome, Wendy. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to let me know. You can unmute yourself. You can raise your hand here.
Hi, this is Greg Stevenson with the Hike House. It's obvious that the Hike House in Garland's will probably receive the most substantial impact. The last project, unfortunately, caused us great harm. There was one point in which we had fencing and barriers in front of our stores, and customers would respond by calling us and asking if we were still in business. So it doesn't sound like we'll be doing any fencing or barriers directly in front of the Hike House. Is that correct?
Not quite that. I'm not aware of any fencing or barriers that's planned.
Okay.
The barrier that we're planning on putting up is for traffic out in the roadway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just simply to push the traffic towards the inside of the roundabout so that we can install the sewer on the east side of the barrier. Now, there will be some shuffling of the pedestrian traffic because as we do the work, we've got to bring the pedestrians across either on the south pedestrian ramp or the north pedestrian ramp. So there's going to be a little bit of shuffling with sidewalk closures to get them across the street.
Do you foresee, so next to that blue box you have there, that's kind of the beginning of our parking lot. Do you foresee our parking lot closing at any juncture?
We will be closing. I mean, there will be times where the driveway in front of your parking lot will be closed. And so the traffic may have to go, the long route in. But it'll be truly minimal compared to anything you've seen in the past.
Okay, yeah, that parking lot there on the north side of our building, I would venture to say 85% of our customers park there. So that would be an issue if we lost those parking spaces during the 9 to 6 hour.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have much of an impact during the 9 to 6 hour. I mean, when we were doing the daytime work, it'll be primarily behind the barricades.
Mm-hmm.
In this view that Connor's got up right now, where we have the barrier. And so that should be, for the most part, a non-impact to you.
So even if, let's say you had to temporarily close that initial entrance there to our parking lot, when you say the long route, I believe you're referring to coming in on the north side of Garland's and coming across, but you don't foresee any time at which both entrances will be closed to that parking lot, correct?
Yeah, not really. I mean, there could be an exception to that, but nothing that comes to mind.
Okay, very good. Appreciate it.
Our plan is to try and minimize that impact. And if there were to be an impact, we would be getting with Connor and the team would get with you beforehand, I'm sure.
Yep, Greg, I have your contact information. So if there's at any point where we might have to do temporary driveway closures or anything, we'll be in touch with you and can find a good time and coordinate that as best as possible with you.
Yeah, and thank you, by the way, for doing some night work. I really appreciate that. I know that helps tremendously as it relates to access to our building. So thank you.
It helps with constructability quite a bit too. Anybody else have any questions here? Not seeing anything in the chat. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, this will conclude our presentation here today. I appreciate you all for joining us, and I hope you guys got some valuable information here. I will leave this slide up in case you wanted to take a picture or write down any numbers of how to stay informed throughout the project. Likely all of you got some kind of email or form to be invited to this project. So you'll receive an e-news here when we are set to begin the project. Right now, it's looking like January 5th, but again, that's contingent upon the issuance of some ADOT permits. In the meantime, if you have any questions, concerns, feel free to shoot us an email or call the project hotline. And on behalf of the project team, we'd like to wish everyone a happy holiday season and be safe in your travels wherever you might go. And with that, well, thank you very much for joining us.